Hi, everybody. This is Stephanie Kalota, AHG Correspondent, and I am here to discuss what is going on for military and veterans on this upcoming congressional year. So, our House representatives and our senators signed in January 2nd, and so we've had some time since we've actually they've gotten started in getting things scheduled and getting things introduced. There's over 400 congressional bills that's actually been introduced by now. Only a few are really for military and veterans. I'm still waiting for more things to get updated because right now it only really shows the title. It gives us some information about it, what's going on, and a lot of it is the typical stuff of introducing care pilot programs for certain things. So I'm kind of excited on seeing what's going on. One for sure is a study for how the VA is treating our veterans, our women veterans that are going through menopause, which has become a big deal lately because there's a lot of doctors out there that are not actually trained in perimenopause and other types of things that go on around menopause, and it's only covered really in a very small sect of medical school. And so I really encourage you guys, if you are running into that issue or you know somebody that's running into that issue, please take a look it up, and contact your House representative or your senator for that. And if you really are interested in it, it's House Bill 219. If you're interested on getting that pushed forward and through. There's another bill that's been introduced that I'm not surprised to see because it's been introduced almost every year, every congressional new session. And that's House Bill 210, and that is to furnish dental care in the same manner as any other medical service. For those that don't know, our veterans who receive VA care, majority of them do not receive dental care. The only ones that actually receive dental care are those that have conditions that service-connected conditions that are connected to dental, and also those that are at 100% or paid at 100%, i.e. TDIU, individual employability. So those are the only ones that really cover dental care. Those advocating for this change so that everyone can get dental care. The argument is that dental care is very vital to your life. It is a very old school thought that dental is, not as important. Many people know that, cardiovascular health, there's many risks to diabetes. If your teeth and your oral care do not get the proper hygiene it needs, it can affect the rest of, your body and your mental health as well. Because those with teeth that does not look great, you do tend to have anxiety and depression because you're afraid to smile, you're afraid to open your mouth and show what's going on down there. So it can cause a lot of things for a veteran that can honestly probably save the VA in the long run, because if it causes cardiovascular conditions or helps increase the risk, they're probably saving themselves in the long run. The downside is that it can be very costly, and it could be a bear to start. And here's the downside of if they pass this law to actually furnish dental care for everyone. The thing is that a lot of the VAs are not equipped to do the dental care for that much of the population of those that are treated there. A lot of the dental clinics, because I'm one that actually receives the dental care. So I will tell you, it is the size of a small dental office that you see anywhere else. And that is what is really in a VA hospital that, treats hundreds of thousands of people. So thousands of people. So that might not be enough. So they would probably have to build more facilities. It costs more money, employ more people. They, either than that, they would go see community care. That could be a huge increase in the workload for community care people, which means you need more people to be handling the processing for community care and getting our veterans linked up with those clinics on the outside to get that care. So yeah, it could cause a lot of issues getting this bill passed, but it's It's going to be a hill to climb. This is something that's been introduced multiple times, so I really do encourage, if you want that to pass and actually help our veterans for that. Again, that House bill number is 210. You can contact your House representative and your senator. You look them up by Googling who's my House representative, who's my senator, this is my state, and you can find out. I highly recommend, if you are dealing with an issue or you want to deal with something that is a congressional bill, contact the DC office. Don't contact the local office, because those people kind of handle things that are happening to you like right now and nearby. I really recommend to try to do the DC office for more of the congressional things on these bills and such, because that's what they really focus on. So other things to really look forward to in the next couple of months. So with every new congressional year and also session, there is usually the veteran service organizations do their briefing, typically annually, sometimes semi-annually. It's kind of tough to tell with COVID sometimes, but they will do their briefings and they will talk to the committees, usually the Veterans Affairs committees, and talk about what's important to them, what Congress should be focusing on. They would also talk about many different subjects on what's, that it pertains to their specific veteran service organization, because there are many different veteran service organizations. There's the Paralyzed Veterans of America. There are the Blind Veterans of America. There are Minority Veterans of America who handle trans, LGBTQ veterans. They also do the minority veterans as well for race, ethnicity, things like that. There's many other organizations that do the briefings, like Wounded Warrior Project or the DAV or the VFW and the American Legion. If you are interested in this, just keep an eye out. That should happen around March. I've seen it between February and March timeframe. So keep an eye out for that. You can, if you're part of these organizations, you can always try to contact the organizations and let them know if there's anything particular to you that you would like them to focus on. That can help in communication, so they can try to help relay that. They can do some research, add it to their list. It may help you out individually, and probably a whole lot of other people that didn't know that you could do this. So the next things to be watching for will be the nomination hearings that would be happening for the Secretary of the Veteran Affairs and Secretary of Defense. These are things that have been talked about a lot that has been going on, particularly for DOD. For those that don't know, President Trump has said that he will nominate Pete Hegseth, who is a veteran, and he was, I believe he still is, a Fox News commentator. And so he's there and been nominated. There's a lot of people that are uncomfortable with him going into this. And this is mostly because of his background in the military. When he was in the National Guard, he was also one of those that was called up for January 6th. And they found out that he has some tattoos that makes it look like he may be part of or supportive of extremist organization. So there's a lot of people that are worried about that. That was noted. He was recommended to be taken off of the mission to be in DC, and then he did resign his commission from the National Guard. So that can cause a little bit of concern there. There should be the FBI background check going through right now. There has been a briefing on that I've seen, and certain key senators have been read in on this. And the only ones that I've really seen were ones that were Republicans. So because honestly, there is enough votes in the Republican side of the Senate to pass if they all vote to nominate Pete Hegseth. So we'll see how that one goes. Oh, excuse me. There's one. Senator Richard Blumenthal was part of it, and the information that he was made aware of from the FBI report. his statement basically said was damning is an understatement for what he read. So, and so we'll see how this goes. He added the fact that senators had not been promised access to Pete Hegseth's background check gave the appearance of a cover-up. So this might be something to watch. There has been allegations on many sides for Pete Hegseth, and that is sexual assault, sexual harassment, alcohol abuse, misuse of funds, especially when he used to work for Concerned Veterans of America, for that veteran service organization. And so we'll really see how this one will come out. There will be excuse me, I laugh a little bit because there's a hearing happening for in Congress to discuss the nominations for Pete Hegseth and also for the VA secretary. And it almost appears that it's a meeting to discuss a future meeting. So it's kind of funny to me. So it'll be funny to you if you ever see how that meeting goes. So that one will probably be posted on my own social media sites on the Political Veteran. So you can go ahead and take a look on that on all the social medias and my website, and we'll see how that one plays out on what may be said in those meetings. Just FYI, all nominations are run through the Senate. So that's the reason why I keep naming senators. So they do the nominations for that side. For anything that needs a political nomination from the president, they do that. And they run through all the checks and make sure that everything is on the up and up. So we will see how that one goes. There's been varied other issues that people have said from about Pete Hegseth, especially those women that are serving in the military currently. They're concerned because he has actually talked very terribly about women in the military and have blamed them for many reasons on why things are wrong and that they shouldn't be in combat positions anymore. So we may see a reversal of the lift on that ban. So on combat MOSs, that may be happening, which can cause a lot of issues. And so it could be something to be watching out for, because that can cause judicial actions, that can cause legislative actions, and it might actually come down to an executive order from President Trump as well. So we'll have to see, because President Trump isn't against reinstating bans, because he did that for the LGBTQ, for the trans ban. Sorry, I mixed them up. For the trans ban, he reinstated that when he was in. But the thing is that he wanted to kick out the trans people that was in the military who were already serving. The ban was only applicable to those that enlisted, and they were open. So there was no way for Trump to really find all the people that were trans in the military and then make them exit. It could also be breaches of contracts and things like that that can cause other judicial actions. So there has been calls to do that from Project 2025, that even though President Trump says he does not know what it is and who wrote it, he has appointed most of the people that were authors of this. So that one is one to look out for. And speaking of President Trump, he says he has 100 executive orders to sign on day one. And so I haven't seen a comprehensive list of many subjects. Most of them have to do with deportation, border security, but he has said that he is in favor of using the military to do the mass deportations in the United States, which can cause an issue with the Posse Comitatus Act, meaning that the military cannot be used to basically act as law enforcement within the United States. Doing deportation within the United States is probably depending on how the judge sees it and how is it argued, but it would very much be a judicial case as well. That's going to be something that's going to clog up the Supreme Court circuit. So we're going to have to see how that one plays out. Lots to watch for. Now, for the VA secretary, his name is Doug Collins. He is not catching a whole lot of spotlight mostly because Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, and a few other people have been getting a lot of the spotlight, Matt Gaetz, what have you. So Doug Collins have kind of been a sleeper in that under there. So then you pretty much, I'm not sure what to expect from him for some people. So Doug Collins is an American lawyer, politician, Air Force veteran, and the presumptive nominee for the United States Secretary of Veterans Affairs for the second Trump administration. And he was been selected by President-elect Trump on November 2024. He has previously served as a U.S. representative for Georgia's 9th Congressional District. He was also part of the Georgia House of Representatives as well prior to that. And he also serves as a chaplain in the United States Air Force Reserve and with the rank of colonel. So he's got some stuff going on. He's got some background. He has been working in that. So it's going to be seeing how this goes. He has, so he did serve for 2 years in the Navy as a Navy chaplain during the 80s. But after 9/11, he joined the Air Force Reserve Command as a chaplain. So that's pretty much where he goes for that. He was deployed to Balad for 5 months in 2008. 5 months is actually long for Air Force because usually it's 3 to 4. So a little surprised at that. But it was, so he was there for Iraq, Operation Iraqi Freedom. And there isn't much on experience that he's had on Veterans Affairs. When he served for the House of Representatives, he actually wasn't on any of the committees, the Veteran Affairs Committee for that, or any of the subcommittees. So it's a little interesting on what he might actually go for. But you have to go more in depth on his background so that you can figure out what he really needs, what he might actually do as the VA secretary. So he has opposed the reproductive health care and abortion. So actually the Susan B. Anthony Foundation actually rates him as an A+ as a politician for his stances on abortion. So if he does get nominated, he will be the presumptive nominee in acting. So he will likely take away the policy that the Biden administration put in place to actually perform abortions or abortion counselings for those veterans that find themselves pregnant, and the pregnancy will risk their life, the health, or it was a result of a rape or incest, or it's a complication against one of their service-connected conditions. So that was done after Roe v. Wade was rescinded because of the Dobbs decision. So this one will likely go away. If those that are unsure on how you feel about those laws and the different intricacies on that, I really encourage you to look up the Hyde Amendment, because that is where a lot of the opposition is against the Biden's administration's move for this policy, because it says that the federal funding cannot be used for abortion unless it was for risk of the life of the mother, rape, or incest. It's changed a few times. So prior to the Dobbs decision, the VA's never provided any abortion or abortion counseling. And then they changed that decision. They believe it was within the grounds of the Hyde Amendment. But there hasn't been any judicial action to restrict them from doing that. Congress has only really tried to put in resolutions to say that they are displeased, that they do not approve of, and those were not passed. So that's something to look out for a lot of people that are advocates for reproductive health care. There are a few other things. He is also against a lot of LGBTQ rights. He opposes same-sex marriage. He's also had some issues with other things that happens to go with that, with sexual orientation and gender identity. He opposed the Equality Act. and voted against it in 2019. So there might be some issues with those that are LGBTQ veterans seeking healthcare for the VA, or even just regular stuff. So we may see issues with any spousal care for those that are in same-sex marriages. We may see issues for trans people that are trying to get their health care. If they've already received their gender transition surgery, they need to be on lifelong care for that. And this may come into risk. So that may also become a judicial action as well, because they can veterans can file against the VA in federal courts for that. So this is something to look out for as well. Okay. Now, departing from that, from the VA and back to President Trump on what may he be doing. I am diverting mostly to Project 2025 because that does really line out on what he may do. Those may say that President Trump, that he might not follow any of the stuff because, he doesn't know this organization that wrote Project 2025 or, that type of stuff. The thing is that President Trump actually on his first administration actually received a similar thing to Project 2025, because that's just really a moniker for this one. The Heritage Foundation writes one every presidential term and hopes that the conservative president who wins will take this and follow it along. Well, he did at least 70% of that policy book's recommendation for his first administration. So he may very well follow this one. May not do exactly all of it, but he may do part of it. And so we'll see how that one goes. There's been a lot of pushback and a lot of criticism from a lot of experts. So we may see less follow through on the Project 2025 than we've seen from conservative presidents in the past when they received the same policy from the Heritage Foundation. So it's very possible it'll be a lower number, and it's something to watch out for. There's a lot of things that we may see from Trump, and it could be different things. One of them would likely be a change to the federal scheduler for workforce, rules. So it's tough to explain. So for federal employees, they have a type of job identifier, and it's schedule. Schedule F is a certain group, and that group actually cannot be fired from a political person. So the president can't fire them because they do not agree with his policies, with his political, ideals and things. And he can't appoint people to replace them that would follow what he believes. And he believes that was one of the reasons why his first administration went so poorly, was because he didn't have absolute command and control, because these people, were there and didn't really care that's what his policies were. And they still did their jobs, not saying they're terrible, just saying that this is what has been the apparent. And that's one of the things that he may go after, is trying to remove that political protection for these federal employees. It's something to watch out for, because about 30% of federal employees are actually veterans, because they do receive a preference, a little added bonus, and a kicker whenever they do apply. They get a little bit higher on the list because of their veteran identification. So it would be something to look out for, and again, happen in judicial actions. So that will be something to really watch out for, and hopefully keep everybody in mind, for those that that are federal employees, because honestly, it's a really great job. I miss my federal job. And there's a lot of really great people there that are just trying to do their job day to day. And one of the reasons why this protection is in place is so that there wouldn't be so much attrition and new people coming in just because a new president won the election every 4 years. Can you imagine every 4 years you're replacing somebody? And you can maintain all of that experience there in that place and protect it from political power. And that way they can keep doing their job, what they're great at. Employees can still be fired if they fail to do certain things and meet the expectations and everything like that. All of that is still in place. They still have those laws in place of how to let go and actually punish a bad employee. So not saying that there isn't any of that going on out there. It's just something to be aware of, and understanding of that. And then we might see something on vaccine mandates, because that may change. We may see different things that's going on with vaccines completely, which can affect our veterans, because they are a vulnerable population. And a lot of times when you have a lot of issues, and also military, if you have a lot of physical and mental issues, it can affect your immune system. So you're less likely to fight against certain viruses and infections. So this might be something that may change as well. Whew. So we can keep a lookout on how this goes for the rest of this year. And everyone has said that the first 100 days, you do get the most things done in a president's term compared to the rest of the 4-year term. It's all about this first 100 days. And if you look back and remember certain things that President Trump has done, like the Muslim travel ban and other things that's happened, I remember that was in the first 100 days, at least, or within the first year. And it can cause a lot of havoc. And we'll have to really keep our eye out on how these things go and how it's going to affect our military and veterans, and how best to advocate for them. We'll see. And next month, we'll be talking about more things that come up and arise, and we will discuss them and try to iron them out for you. So